I've actually enjoyed watching the Coyotes play this week. Tonight was not one of those nights for me at all. It was not an enjoyable one, but we are here for you. Thank you for tuning in to the PHNX Coyotes postgame show, aka Pack Therapy, brought to you by the one and only DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a 5-star review. I'm Leah Merrill here with Steve Peters. We already got one PD sign before you've even spoken a word. Chat, keep an eye on that. And PD, this was not fun at all.
People are saying it's Dallas Stars are in first place in the Central, and they are. That is a good hockey team. But rewind the last two, it was the Florida Panthers and the New York Rangers, and it didn't look like that. And you just want them. We've said it. Just play hard and don't. They gave the game away. Like the first goal, it's on Richie's stick, and then it ends up in the net. The second goal is on Mayo's stick. It's a 1-on-4. A 1-on-4. There's one Dallas Star in the zone, and there's 4 Mayo in the net. 2-0. Third one's off Keller's stick in the net. The long pass where Veggie. That's a pass from Lawson Krause to JJ Mosier at the point. Misses it, goes all the way down to Veggie, and Veggie figures, I might as well just wait till the Stars get closer. And so he, literally, so that's 4. So we're saying 4 of the 7 were on the Coyotes stick first. You can't win like that. You can't give away the game. You can't. They're not good enough to just give the other team opportunities. So sorry.
Sorry to be negative right off the hop. We're gonna go a little out of order because I want to get to your keys right away because PD, you give out your keys for a reason for the Coyotes to follow them.
Well, and I did it early in the day. Get them out, put them on the board in there. Quick
start. Maybe it wasn't quite there.
Quick start.
That meant for the Coyotes, not for the Stars. Maybe we should have been more clear.
The game started at 7:07. The Coyotes started at 9:05. And it was 2 hours late they showed up for this one. They just get ready. I don't know what it is. A pregame nap? Was a pregame meal not right? Was there traffic on the way to the Mullett? I don't know what it was, but they were not ready to play tonight at all. And that's everybody. And I feel bad for Ingram. Got hung out to dry tonight, but this team was not ready to play tonight. I don't know if they thought they were, coming off the win the other night against Florida and they just took the foot off the gas, or I don't know, but they were not ready to play. Robertson, I guess he only had 2, which by himself tied the Coyotes, so that's probably enough. And the goaltending.
You said sorry, no. You did this. Sorry, no Veggie versus Wedgie tonight. There was just not the way we thought.
So Wedgie beat both goalies tonight. So Wedgie beat Ingram and he beat Veggie. So with the Wedgie is the winner all the way around. It's just frustrating because we know where this team is. We know where they stand. We know where they are on paper. We got all that, but they're not at 7-2. Are they 7-2? Is that where they're at? I don't know.
It didn't seem like that over the last 3 games, and I don't know if that was the hype of Mullett and that home crowd feel. And I saw Caleb commented it's because of the temporary visiting team locker room. Obviously, that didn't play a factor for the Dallas Stars.
3-1 that visiting team was on that rubber mat over the ice.
Yeah.
But somebody else said something about the goaltending. Leah, we said it on the last show. Who's going to start the next game? And what did we say? We said it'd be Veggie because Veggie won and he got the win, and it was Ingram. And now this is what they did last year. Now what? Now who do you go to?
And this goaltending rotation has been really interesting to me. We didn't know, and it's ironic with Scott Wedgewood being in town. When he came in, it was a 1A, 1B situation with him and Karel Vejmelka. And when Connor Ingram came in, we didn't really know what we would get from him. He had a rough first game, but then had 2 really great games. And you thought, oh, maybe this is a 1A, 1B situation. And I've been really surprised by the coaching staff not necessarily choosing to ride the hot goaltender, but just going back and forth and back and forth. And I don't know if that's something that works. I'm not in a locker room. I'm not in a coach's office. I don't get paid to make those choices. It's just interesting to me. And this is not to say Veggie had a good game tonight, because he also let in 4, or what was it? Did
4
he
on
let in?
25.
Yeah, 4 on
21 saves.
25. So
yeah, it's not good enough, either one.
no.
But
they've also both looked good enough. So I don't
Right.
know what it is.
So, but again, we talked about the turnovers and the giveaways, and that's the difference. I don't think it's goaltending. Like I went
Yeah.
back and watched the first 3 goals. I don't know what Ingram's supposed to do.
Well,
And
Charles just said it in the chat, 17 giveaways tonight. You can't do that.
so that's the bigger set. The goaltending numbers aren't good, but I don't know if I fault Ingram on these. He gave up 3 and 10, and he only had 7 saves. They need to shake it up. They need to make a change. You need to give a spark to your team and going, hey, you left this guy out there all by himself. Do better. And that's what you make that change for. I don't think they were pulling him because he played poorly. They're just trying to get a spark up their team. And now you go, now what? And I looked at the chat. They're all over the place on who should play. There's some for Veggie, some for Ingram. For me, you got to make a choice here. So I'm gonna say it's Veggie going in DC with the start, the first game of the 14 game road trip.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit. I promise you that. But yeah, PD, that first key about starting on time for the Coyotes. Well, the Stars were ready. They scored a minute 30 in, and a fun little nugget is they have scored first in 9 of their 11 games, the Dallas Stars. So they're a team you don't want scoring first on you. They scored a minute 30 in, 3 minutes and 54 seconds in, 8 minutes and 42 seconds in, and then again with a minute 30 to go in that period. It was already 4-0 after the first. There was really no coming back from it. And here's another one. 10 different Stars players in that first period had points. 10. Yeah. 10.
It's you know what though, it surprised me because after seeing the New York Rangers, and who I keep saying I think is one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, Dallas is a good team. They're not Colorado. And the Coyotes have already skated with Toronto, Florida, New York. Okay, another good team. They seem to play better against good teams. So, maybe they'll keep it close. I still, you still think Dallas is probably the better team, but maybe they'll keep it close. And when it's 4-0 at the end of the first, game's over. Like this team can't score enough. They can't score. They can't overcome a 4-goal deficit. You can't.
2-0, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, you can't find the offense on this team to come up with 4 goals.
But even the mental wherewithal, like if it's 2-0 after 1, you can go in the locker room and say you just need 1 to come back. You can't, like, teams do it obviously, but there's no coming back from that. And they that one was written off after the first 2 goals, in my opinion. But let's check out tonight's game by the numbers. And it paints an interesting picture. It's a little bit of a different one than what we saw, because if you just look at the shots on goal, 35-31, it seems okay, maybe a little bit more evenly matched. But I mean, we mentioned this last game. The Coyotes can't be taking this many penalties. Dallas capitalized 1 for 4 on their power play. The Coyotes only had 1 power play opportunity, which is a bummer for a team that came into this game with the 3rd best power play in the National Hockey League, which is something we still can't believe. Unfortunately, they didn't get it done in this game. That little streak is broken. But a fun little stat line we threw in tonight hits 37-13 Coyotes. So I guess they were trying to keep it physical when they couldn't get on the score sheet, but I don't know. It's 7-2 is the one that really, stands out there.
Yeah, when you look at the shots on goal, one of the things it's moderately deceiving is that 3rd period. I mean, Dallas is up 5-0 going into the 3rd, and I'm not sure that was their best period of hockey in the 3rd. When you're up 5-0 on the road, you kind of got that one in the bag, and I don't want to say let up, but you play a different style, certainly. So I think there was something there, but this team has given up more than 30 shots on goal in all but 1 of their games. The only game that they held the opponent under 30 was against Toronto. They got to do better. And what do you need to do? You
can't play Toronto every night.
You can't. Although I wish, Toronto fans don't want to hear it, and I know they're all listening, but we did beat Toronto. So you got to limit the shots below 30. You have to. And how do you do that? You got to hold on and maintain possession of the puck. You can't continually give the opponents more puck time, more offensive zone time, and more shots. You can't. And so we joked about it the other day when I pulled out the whiteboard saying, bang it off the wall. If they banged it off the wall today, this game might have been 3-2 or 4-2. instead of 7-2. They just have to stop turning the puck over. And
Well,
one other thing I saw tonight that frustrated me on that fourth goal, it's the one that went off Keller's shin pad and went into center ice. Might be the third. Sorry, off his shin pad and went out to
what a
center ice.
HK, PD.
But you watch the back check of the Coyotes coming back into the zone, and you're like, Kel's had him. Like Kel's has the opportunity to break up that play, and he doesn't. And we talked the other day about, Keller's on when he's playing a 200-foot game. That's what the coach said, and I didn't see it tonight. I didn't think that was one of Keller's better games, either side of the puck. It was just disappointing that, again, the loss isn't what I'm saying is disappointing. It's not the loss. It's giving the pucks over, turning the puck over, and I didn't see the effort through 40. And that was the difference for me.
Yeah, definitely. And what Roaring Fork said in the chat too, hits 37-13 means they never had the puck, which is a really good point and a really good read of that stat. But about the turnovers, like I was literally sitting here alone screaming at the TV, like stop passing it to the middle. Like that's again and again, it just led to turnover after turnover. We saw the Mayo turnover that led right to that goal. Like what you just said. Up the wall and out.
Ice in your defensive zone. This team isn't skilled enough to make those plays through the middle of the ice out of their own end. They're just not right now. They're young and they're fragile. And hey, guess what? It's okay. It's okay to live another day. That's what we used to call it. Get it over the blue line and live another day. Instead of throwing it through the middle of the ice, trying to make that pretty play and that pretty breakout play. Get it off the wall. You get your teammates slashing in behind the opponent's defenseman, and you can still create chances off the rush. Doesn't mean you can't generate odd man rushes. You just don't turn the puck over as much.
Yeah, and they had a couple, like we saw Gostisbehere come out of the box and get a breakaway. Keller kind of had a breakaway that he then stopped.
He stopped
and turned around, so that was a little strange.
It's one thing. Watch Keller on that, and I know I'm sure Clayton's listening on his drive home too. When he comes into the offensive zone, you see a lot of these guys now that their goal is to drive the net. You drive that post, you drive the net hard with the puck and try to protect the puck and get to the net. Clayton's a guy that when he gets over the blue line, he cuts to the middle. Like he cuts inside to the middle to the blue line. He wants to slow the play down. He wants the play to come by him and then make a play. Like he'll stop just inside the blue line, let his wingers drive the net and try to make a nice saucer pass to the net. He's going to have to get that into his bag of tricks. He's going to have to learn how to drive the net. He's going to have to protect the puck and get to the blue paint. And it's just something he hasn't done over his career. And honestly, you're just going to have to do it. Like, if you want to put up the numbers that he's looking to put up and get goals like he's trying to put up, you got to get to the blue paint. And Keller on the rush specifically really pulls up and tries to slow things down. And it doesn't always work. Sometimes it does, and he can make beautiful plays from there. He's a great playmaker and can make a great pass to the middle, guy driving. But at some point, he's going to have to drop a shoulder, put his arm out, and get to the blue paint.
Yep. And right now, Keller is not leading the team in goals. That is actually now a stat that belongs to Lawson Krause, who scored tonight. So let's have our moment of positivity because we've been very negative through 15 minutes. And we're going to... No, it's fine. We need to be. That was bad. But let's crown our DraftKings King of the Game. And this one goes out to someone who finally broke through the misery slightly and got the Coyotes on the score sheet. And that is Juuso Valimaki, who scored a goal and had 4 shots on goal in tonight's game. He is our DraftKings King of the Game tonight. Shout out to him, a first timer as king. And at least made it not a shutout. So
yeah, he had 5 attempts on net. He tied. Who else had 5 attempts? Josh Brown and Lawson Krause both had 5 attempts at the net, but he unfortunately stopped Wedgie's shutout. Unfortunately for Wedgie, not for
not for us.
So congratulations to Valimaki, who I thought has been a pretty solid defenseman through this early part of the season. I think he's played well. I think he's a guy they've relied on, and I think he moves the puck and gets up the ice better than they had anticipated even.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you had bet on Valimaki to be an anytime goal scorer, you might have run in quite a bit of dough because I don't think we expect to see him on the score sheet every single night. But you can make yourself some money on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. I did tonight. There was a odds boost on the Thursday night football game. It boosted something from -145 to plus 100, and I won some money. And you can too. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, and new customers can make any $5 NBA moneyline bet and get $200 if your team wins. You can also boost your winnings up to 100% with DraftKings stepped up same game parlays. It's simple. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook. Use promo code PHNX. That's code PHNX on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. And this is certainly a game we probably could have used some OGs to get through. And that's right. OGs is officially a partner of the PHNX Coyotes show, which I am so excited about. I don't know what side that was. Chat will have to let us know. But there's some breaking contract news. OGs has agreed to a new deal with PHNX. Terms of the agreement weren't released at the time of the agreement, but sources close to the two sides say we're immensely excited and looking forward to creating more great content between the brands. As always, you can find them at your local dispensary. You must be 21 and over to enjoy. Well, it's time to welcome in.
Do they have a stress reliever at all?
Absolutely, PD.
Okay, just checking.
We'll find the one for you. I promise.
Okay.
Psy 420. Love that, Steven. Let it.
Oh, I get it. OG. Good reference.
Yeah, love it. Well, now we're going to welcome into our video podcast my co-host, because I am the unnamed co-host, but here is Craig Morgan live from Mullett Arena.
Look at the glow.
Wow, Craig.
Look at the lighting you got today. What the hell's that?
I don't know.
Angel
it's the arena.
Lighting.
Yeah, it's a halo around.
No,
me.
I think
I've ascended.
Yeah, oil on your lens.
I've been rewarded for all my years of coverage of the Coyotes. I finally ascended to heaven. They're like, we need to reward this guy.
I don't know what filter that is, but I like it.
Wow. Oh, buddy. Buddy. How about this game tonight? Speaking of OGs, yeah, did a little digging on that contract. They were mutually agreed to no move clauses for OGs and PHNX. Neither side's going anywhere. We're gonna need each other to get through this.
Thank goodness. Exactly. They came in at the perfect time on our show. We're stoked. Craig, we've talked a lot about the game already, but I'm curious.
All right, so we'll talk about it anymore.
Curious what Coach Cherney had to say about this one.
Well, he had a good quote that's going to be in my story off of this game. He said, we had a chance to be over 500 on this homestand, and apparently nobody was interested in it. Something to that effect. I got to get the exact quote. He was not happy after this one. Look, I'm sure you guys have dissected it. There were brutal plays in the defensive zone by defensemen and goalies alike. There was just not much to talk about in this game. It was not a good effort. They weren't ready to go from the drop of the puck, which is really surprising because they competed so well, I thought, in the first 3 games of this homestand, in spite of the fact that the shot totals were a little lopsided. We're going to see that a lot with a team that isn't going to possess the puck a lot and isn't great defensively, but they competed hard in those first 3 games. Tonight,
But is that the difference, though? And I guess now that you've said it, because we said the same thing, turnovers, the defensive zone coverage, lethargic start, all of those things were true. But they've given over 30 shots every single game except one against Toronto, and they're in these games. So are we relying too much on the goalies? Is it
sure
putting too much blame on these goaltenders?
I listen, you got to make a save. You're a professional, right? That's your job. And listen, Connor Ingram getting pulled tonight wasn't all just to shift momentum. It wasn't all on because the team wasn't ready. He could have made a save there too, right? You know that, Petey. But yeah, these goaltenders are going to be under pressure every game because they're facing just an insane amount of shots. And I tweeted this. They've given up 6 or more goals in half of their games this season. Where's that leading? This is going to be insane this season if they keep giving up goals like that. So yeah, I think the goalies are under pressure, but hell, the goalies haven't been up to the task a lot of the time too. So it's a total team meltdown in these efforts that we've seen half of the games of the season.
Yep. Well, something we haven't talked about yet, and it's coming up a lot in the comments, and take a shot for this one. Dylan Guenther, so this was his 9th game.
Yeah.
So it's time to make a decision for General Manager Bill Armstrong. Do they send him back to Edmonton or wherever if they're going to make a trade in the WHL? Do they keep him? He had a bit of a quiet night tonight. He did have one shot, but I guess it didn't register as a shot on goal. I noticed an opportunity at least. 13:23 time on ice tonight, just 16 seconds on the power play. I actually bet him on DraftKings for anytime goal scorer because I thought, oh, he's going to really make that push. It's his last showing, last potentially. What do you guys think? Stay or go? I know we rehash this every single show, but everyone wants to talk about it. So
yeah, all I'm going to say is that they're going to talk about it tonight, and they'll obviously make a decision tomorrow because Game 10 is Saturday in Washington. So they'll make that decision. We'll see where it goes. Look, I think you can make arguments on both sides, and we have made arguments on both sides.
We talked about it
Petey.
a lot on our last show. We talked about it a lot, and the good, the positive and negatives. I go back to this. This is a team that's not going to score many goals. We've seen it. We've seen how they've struggled for offense. I don't know, especially with Schmaltz still out of the lineup, and somebody else is going to be out of the lineup, and you look at who's next up in Tucson. It's hard to send offense and goal scoring away. I get it. And I'm the first guy to say over baking and all of those things. Again, I don't have to make the decision. So lucky for me, I don't. But it's hard to give up offense on a team that struggles for offense. And I'm the first guy that said send them back. And now I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
Here's
and
the
now
thing too. Go ahead, Leah. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, and now we know that Zach Cassian is going to be out a little bit longer. And I'm not saying that Zach Cassian's role is, elite goal scorer, but he is a forward who they're going to be without at least for the first 5 of this upcoming road trip to the East. So I don't know if that plays a role either, but they're down another forward on top of Schmaltz.
Here's another thing to consider when thinking about Dylan Guenther. Tucson's rolling right now. They've got a really good mix going. And listen, I know it's the reality of the AHL that you're gonna disrupt them all the time. They're a feeder. They're there to develop players for the NHL level, and I get all that. But I know that they want to establish a bit of a winning culture down there and hopefully have that transport up at some point. Tucson's really playing well right now. Maybe you don't mess with that mix either. And like Petey said, Nick Schmaltz is out. You don't have a lot of offensive options. So I think that's an argument for keeping Dylan Guenther at this point.
Yeah, and you look at the Tucson Roadrunner roster, and with Cassian out, they're going to have to call somebody up. We're going on a 14-game road trip. They got to make.
Here's an interesting thing.
Forward up.
I asked Bill Armstrong about this tonight, and he said Andre likes the 11-7 mix. Jeez. They might start the road trip with 7 defensemen. And listen, I don't want to criticize the guy too much, but Dyson Mayo made a brutal play that led to a goal, basically threw the puck right across the slot. I mean, it's a play you can't make at this level, and I don't think he's played well this season. I guess I don't get why he's got a roster spot cemented right now, even though they're down a forward. I'm surprised that they aren't thinking about bringing a forward up from Tucson.
Yeah, that is.
I think you have to when you're traveling across country.
Me too.
With that many games and that many nights on that far away, like you're going to be 3 time zones away as of Sunday. Oh, no,
yeah, you're flirting with
2.
disaster.
Sorry. 2 time zones away as of Sunday, 3 as of today.
I don't even like to think about that.
I know I can't. I get confused.
I like Pacific time.
So you're going to look at Carconi, you're going to look at Dauphin, like Laurent Dauphin, and you're going to have to call.
Dauphin.
I know, isn't that awesome? He's got 5 goals, leads the team in goals, but now you're going to break up the chemistry there, and we want them to win down there. So it's tough, but you got to have a forward there. I don't care if he's the 13th guy or the 12th guy. You need another forward on a 14-game trip away from home. They got to have somebody called up. So to go out there without an extra forward and planning to play 7-11, you can even play 7-11, but you better have that extra guy. I don't know. I think there's going to be a call up from Tucson, but what do I know?
Now that you guys have enlarged this screen, I can see that it feels like I'm floating on a field of fog, huh?
It's kind of weird filter looking. You got there.
I got no filter. That's just literally what it looks like.
Blatantly asinine in the comments said Craig with a soft focus makes the cold reality of the tank a bit better.
We should all do that soft focus. I like that.
Craig, I think you just need to rub your camera. I think there's a little bit of a smudge on there.
Let's rub that.
Yeah,
a little better.
Just go.
Whatever.
Just go home.
Craig, while you're still here, let's end it on a positive note with you. Matias Maccelli, 2 assists tonight. We've talked a lot about him and how he's looked good so far. So, great to see him be involved on both of the Coyotes goals tonight.
Yeah, we like a lot of Matias Maccelli's game. I like the puck on his stick. I really think he can make plays. I also like him in tight spaces. He's really developed that part of his game. The side that I think he needs to learn more, and it's evident. He had 2 assists tonight, but when you play more direct teams, Matias Maccelli has to learn probably to play a more direct game, because you can't be doing some of the dancing and weaving side to side that he does at times. It's when you play teams and when you play playoffs, if this team ever gets to the playoffs, that's the style of play that you're going to see. At some point, he's going to do that. But I don't want to detract from what he's done, because I think he's looked really good. He's actually surprised me with how well he's played.
Hey, look, he's a high-skill offensive guy that can distribute the puck extremely well. We saw it in Tucson. He's doing the same thing here. To Craig's point, and we talk about shot attempts, not just shot on goals, but shot attempts means you tried. It got blocked. It missed the net. You tried to shoot. You know how many he had tonight? Shot attempts? 0. Yeah. 0. Not one. Not one attempt at the net. And that's to your point. I think right now maybe he's deferring and trying to make that play and trying to make the extra play and trying to make that pass. And there comes a point, and Christian Fisher said it when he was on this show, when you're younger, you feel like you have to do that. You have to look for the better. You got to give the puck to somebody else. At some point, you got to go, no, I want the puck, and I'm going to try to make an offensive play, and I'm going to try to shoot the score. Maccelli will do that. He's still young, and he's still deferring. He's still trying to make those plays, and he's trying to make the pretty play to a more senior member of this team, and I think that'll change the more games he plays, and somebody's got to tell him, shoot the puck. Shoot the puck. Kid's a hell of a player, and this is a good stepping stone in his career, but at some point he's going to have to start trying to get some pucks on net.
Well, Craig, we'll let you go so you don't have to talk about this one anymore, because I know you're working on a story that will go up on gophnx.com. So enjoy your brief ride back, and then you're hitting the road with the Coyotes for a small portion of this very long road trip. So
yeah, not the first 2 stops, but yeah, I'll be in New York. And right now, I'm actually, St. Peter's calling me. I'm ascending.
Look at that.
Right now,
when he does
Bye, guys.
There's this glow. I don't know what it is, but I'll be searching my filters for the next show.
It's been nice working with you guys.
Yeah. Goodbye, Craig.
Get home safe, Craig.
Pleasure.
Goodbye forever.
Goodbye, Craig. Oh, my goodness. Well, you can read Craig's takeaways from tonight's game and this week on gophnx.com. I know he's working on that. He's always working on something, and you can read it all at gophnx.com by becoming a member. Becoming a member also gets you access to our members only Discord, as well as first access to all of our events. And tomorrow there's an event, and there's still a couple of tickets available. Plus, at PHNX_Suns, they're giving away tickets. So check that out as well. But there is a Suns takeover tomorrow. That's Friday for the game against the Trailblazers. You can get your tickets. It's going to start at the Ainsworth across from the Footprint Center. You get a ticket to the game against the Trailblazers, 2 free beers, an all-you-can-eat buffet, giveaways, and more. So act fast. There's only a couple left. This deal is amazing. Literally $75 for all of that. You can buy your tickets in the link in our description below. So definitely take that opportunity. And PD, early on, someone noticed your shirt said drink beer.
I know, I tried to get it right at the line, drink beer, and I've got the matching wow right here too.
Oh my goodness, look at that.
I know, I love matching wow.
So yeah, whether you go for OGs for this one or a Four Peaks beer, we're lucky to have Four Peaks beer as our partner and drink beer. Do you hear my cat, by the way, like yelling in the background? Okay. Nobody did, but now you all are aware of it. But I did hear you opening that can though. ASMR. Love that. Check out Four Peaks for the World Cup, because Four Peaks we're teaming up with Four Peaks to host all the U.S. and Mexico World Cup matches at their 8th Street pub. Enjoy beer specials, giveaways, guest appearances, and more. Check the link in our show notes to register for free. It's a free event. You must be 21 or older to enjoy Four Peaks and enjoy it responsibly.
And I usually say that the Joy Bus Wow is my daytime beer, but I wanted to match my shirt, so I went with the
it's great anytime, to be honest.
You know what? It actually is. I'm surprising citrus taste is actually enjoying that late at night. So this is late at night for me. 10-12 is really late for me.
I know. It's way past your bedtime. Yeah, exactly. Well, In this game tonight, we saw that unfortunate play by Veggie at the beginning of the third period that led to a goal on an empty net 27 seconds in. And we saw a lot of calls on Twitter and in our members-only Discord for us to bring back knee hockey highlights. And unfortunately, we are not in the studio tonight, so we were unable to do a reenactment. But lucky for us, in the archives, we have this replay that was a very similar situation.
Yeah, but before we run it, we don't, unfortunately, we don't have access to the Bally's highlights because turns out they won't let us use them. So we had to come up with creative ways to tell what happened in the game.
So this is from last year, our own interpretation, but I promise you it is almost exactly the same exact play as what happened tonight. So roll it, Sean.
Vejmelka goes out to the corner to get the puck. He looks up the ice.
Right to Patrick Brown, who puts it in the net.
Oh my God.
We need to see that again.
Let's see it again. Slow it down. He looks up the ice, right up the middle of the ice.
No, right on.
And Brown puts it in the net.
No, but really
Unbelievable.
watch his decision making right here.
That is just right on the
Very
tape
poor.
and right in the
It
net.
was. It was right on the tape too. No, I don't know if you didn't see him. I think he's a righty, by the way, Petey. So I'm not sure you went to the right hand there.
Okay, but how is it almost exactly the same play?
Same play. Same play. That right on Ben Sick. It's funny because
replace the name and you
but
got
watch how
it.
long he held onto the puck. Like he's just waiting for him to get. Wait, I'll wait till he gets closer to the net. I'm gonna wait till he gets right in the slot. Well, I don't know. It was bizarre. It was bizarre.
We'll bring back more knee hockey highlights this season, I promise you. And by the way, Mike said it's 1:15 here. I'm a sucker for PHNX. We appreciate you, Mike,
Thanks,
so
Mike.
much for staying
I
up.
don't stay up till 1:15. That's late.
I know, unless you have to for our late night. We got some 8 p.m. games on the.
Games. I know.
There's an 8:30 one against
I know.
Anaheim.
Good grief.
Oh my
Thanks, Mike.
goodness. Yeah. But appreciate you. Thank you all for being here, by the way. Hit the like button while you're here watching us live on YouTube. And if you're listening on audio, subscribe and leave us a review. Just throwing that in there. So yeah, it wasn't the most pretty game for the Coyotes. I think this one is one that we all just wanted to end so we can turn the page to the next one. They got to be better against the Capitals coming up here. Let's take a look at the upcoming schedule, the next couple games, not the giant one. We got Washington on Saturday, and then it's to Sean's hometown of Buffalo on Tuesday, to the Islanders, to the Devils. These are all teams that have been playing really well. That next week is going to be a bit of a concern. Buffalo, the Islanders, and the Devils all playing really well right now. So it's not going to get any easier. I really hope that they're able to turn the page. And again, let's just reemphasize, it's a rebuild, it's a tank, blah, blah, blah. But I'd rather watch a 3-2 overtime loss or a 3-2 regulation loss than a 7-2 loss. So
you look at those games coming up.
Rein it in a little.
You look at Washington, Stanley Cup in their history here. You got Ovechkin. They're the lowest seeded team of the four they're playing. Buffalo, Islanders, and Jersey are all in a playoff spot right now. Jersey is in first place in the Metropolitan. Like, like this is not going to be an easy trip. And it's 14 games. And you start off with these 4 teams for your first 4. They're going to have to be better. They're going to have to, goaltending's going to have to be better, and they're going to have to manage the puck better, or this is going to be absolute misery. And we saw this last year. Remember, they went on that one trip, and you go, where they were giving up a bundle of goals. Let's hope it's not this one. Let's hope.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Let's hope, because it's a long road ahead. And now let's look at the longest road that we will see for the Coyotes this season. The road trip. The Coyotes 14-game road trip, and no, they will not be on the road this entire time. They will make a couple pit stops back here in Arizona, but it doesn't take away from the fact that they will not be back at Mullett until December 9th, which is over a month from now. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see this amazing map that Sean created, so shout out Sean. But 14 games on the road. PD, I don't think you've ever been a part of anything like this. Like, how do you prepare for this mentally?
The hardest thing for me isn't like 14 games is a lot, but you look at the map, look at
Look at the
northeastern
mileage.
North America to the southwest up to the northwest. Like, you know how hard that is on your body? I mean, that
And it's
many
not
time
in
zones?
order. Like
No, it's horrific.
look at the numbers. It's 6th game in Vegas, the 11th game
6, 7, 8
in
goes
LA.
Vegas, Nashville, Carolina. Like what? Like what? Like it makes no sense. This is a really, really hard schedule. This is going to be tough mental challenge, not just for the players, but the coaches, the staff. Like this is really hard. They are going to try to come home, I believe, at least twice on this trip to see their family and do their dry cleaning. But even then, when when you're gone from home for 5 or 6 days and you come home for one day, you know how much shit you got to do?
Yeah.
Like you can't get it all done in one day.
I always feel like when I take a vacation, I need an extra day at the end just to get my life together.
So they'll come home, they'll put their stuff in the laundry, they'll get it out, and they'll put it right back in the suitcase, and they'll go again the next day. This is going to be really hard. I'm really concerned to see where they're going to be standing in the standings. Wow, after these 14 games, because this is tough. This is daunting, and unfortunately, they're looking at it just what you did. They looked at the map, they looked at the schedule, and they're all going, "Oh my God, like this is going to be difficult," and that gets in your head. And we talk about the time zones, and you get tired, and it's hard. Like we said, their body's going to think when they wake up in Washington at 8 o'clock in the morning, their body's going to think it's 5. I don't know.
And then they'll be there for daylight savings. So
Yeah.
I don't know
Oh,
if that
boy.
will help coming back or what, because it'll be a little less. But yeah, it's not looking good. The road ahead is looking tough. But speaking of looking, Petey, what did you think of the orange reverse retros in action tonight? Like genuinely, honestly, honest.
Honest, I don't love them. I don't love them. But again, I don't think I'm their target market. And I'll tell you my biggest problem with them. I think it's because I'm old and I can't see very good. I don't like dark numbers on dark jerseys. The Calgary Flames have black on red. I can't see the numbers. I was watching TV, that dark color on that dark orange. I couldn't see the numbers. Like put white on there just for me. Like maybe next year design it for Petey so he can see. I guess it's
the
unique.
only one. Espo said that too.
It's unique. It's interesting. I guess it's going to be. I didn't love the purple at first either, and I grew to love it. So I'm sure I will do the same with the orange. I just had a hard time with the numbers. Leah, what was your thoughts on the orange crush?
So my thought is I really like them when they released them, and I saw the photo. I didn't love how they looked on TV from the above shots. I don't know if it's because the lighting also in Mullett is a little bit different on TV than a regular NHL arena. But when they would show the ice level cameras and they were skating by, I thought they looked really good.
Better. Yeah, the color changed.
So
yeah, you're right.
Maybe in person they were better. If you were at the game, let us know in the chat what you thought. I agree. I think a lot of people, like the purple ones, were elite and a lot of people loved them. Wasn't a great debut for them to lose 7-2. And I actually went back and looked up their record in the purple jersey. So with the purple and this tonight, they are now 2-3-1 in the reverse retro. So not a fabulous record in the reverse retro so far, but I don't know. I would like to see them in person. I can't fully judge by seeing them on TV, but I don't know. Playing against a team in bright green and white, like it just didn't flow.
You know what you guys did? I missed the whole reverse retro show where you guys went in and did your whole ratings on all of the sweaters, but it's not on the top of my list.
I do like it. I do like the jersey. I do like it.
Did you see the Buffalo Sabres in their white?
Yeah,
aggressive.
Sean
very
is
aggressive.
Nodding.
The Rangers wore their third tonight. That was a different color blue. I really like that. And I told you I like the seals and
I know. I wish you were there because we would have fought on the
seals. Yeah, but again, I saw the seals because there was a team from the 70s, like the California Seals.
Yeah, and you hated the Florida Panthers one.
Yeah,
and
the
Sean
Florida
Panthers. And Sean and I loved it, which I think also shows a generational difference.
Generational problem. Yeah. I guess you wear it to the beach. I don't know if you put it on ice for a game.
Sean is abusing the PHNX Sports YouTube account. Get off there.
They were filthy.
They were amazing. Well,
they're great. So we'll see. I don't know when they wear them again. I'm sure you've got a schedule somewhere, but
it is somewhere. I did tweet it once. I can go back and find it. But yeah, night one, hopefully their next wearing of them, it's not that brutal of a loss. Again, we don't mind losses. We just want close games. And tonight was not that. It just was not that fun to watch. Luckily, the Tucson Roadrunners are on fuego right now. They won 5 straight. We already touched on them a little bit earlier, but it's really great to see them having success. And you know, the formula for a rebuilding team is a bad NHL squad and a good AHL squad, because those are the guys who are going to come up. We saw it happen with Tampa Bay, how many of those guys played on their AHL team. So really great for Tucson to have this hot start. And we're going to hopefully catch up with them on a upcoming episode of Down the I-10. So definitely stay tuned for that, because they've had a lot of success.
yeah, and that's fun. And that's why we want to keep them together. That's why we got to watch the injuries here at the big club. And, you know, San Jose got a point tonight.
Yeah,
Seattle won, Chicago
also,
won.
how about the 8-5 Canucks over Anaheim? 8-5.
Wow, that's a lot of goals.
Wild. So
Yep.
yeah, well, the standings are.
We're not quite
shaping
ready
up
to start
be-
looking at the standings because we're like 10 or 11 games in.
Yeah,
so
we're taking peeks. We're
it's
taking
a little
peeks.
early.
I think this 14-game road trip
Yes.
too will really cement the
Yes.
Coyotes' place. You know, and if you saw, we tweeted from the beat account the other day, the Coyotes hovering near the Colorado Avalanche in the standings, kind of waving hello. I don't think we're gonna see that for much longer.
Yeah.
We
Yeah, I
can
don't think
enjoy
so
it for a moment.
I don't think so.
Signs of what's to come, hopefully. But yeah, and a lot of people said it too on Twitter and in the chat and in the Discord. The Coyotes were destined to lose this game tonight, PD. Do you know why?
I think I do.
Would you like to say?
Why don't you tell us?
Because the punch card said so. The punch card rules all, and the pattern simply would not allow for a win. It had to be a loss, which means we're looking at a loss in Washington, but a win in Buffalo. I don't know.
Big win
That
in
might
Buffalo.
be
DP,
that might
I don't know
be
what you think about
wishful
that.
thinking looking ahead,
Whoa.
but we made it to line 2 of the punch card.
God, there's a lot of hockey left. That's just the one thing about this
What
punch
sign
card. It
number
just
was
makes
that?
you go. You look at this and you just go, "Oh my goodness, there's a lot of hockey left." And it's after games like this that you say that you go, "Oh my." Like, I don't know if I can take that many games of this kind of hockey. So they'll get better. They're a better team than that. They've showed it over the last week. They can play better than this. They just have to start on time. And that when they don't start on time and they get behind 2-3 early, this is what you get. And it's happened too many times in the first 5 games. And now we saw it creep into their game at home, which is unfortunate.
Yep, it is unfortunate. It's unfortunate that they're not going to be at home until December 9th, but you can buy tickets to that game, which is against the Bruins, who have been hot, or any of the other home games, because they're on the road this much means they're going to be home a lot in the second half of the season. They play 41 home games no matter what. They'll finally be in the Annex, which hopefully we'll get a peek at. It's supposed to be really, really nice. And if you want to go to the Coyotes games or any other games, Cardinals game this weekend against the Seahawks, you got Suns coming up, tons of stuff. Check out Game Time. You can save up to 60% on tickets when you buy them last minute. I've seen incredibly cheap tickets on there for Coyotes games, so check them out, especially on the day of games or events. It's crazy, but I promise you will save the most money, and the best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link in our description. So scroll on down in YouTube and audio and click the link to buy your tickets. PD, anything else you want to talk about?
71 to go.
How many size? Somebody tell me.
There's a lot. There were a lot.
It was a lot.
There were a lot.
I wish that we were watching together, because I'm sure you had many during the game.
Yeah, and we will be. I think there's a rumor we're back in the studio on Saturday.
We are back in the studio Saturday. So looking forward to that one. Miss watching games with you guys, and we're gonna have Craig with us because the Coyotes are back on the road. So he is with us for now. He is hitting the road next week. So obviously, always follow along with Craig, and we'll hopefully have news about Dylan Guenther either tomorrow or Saturday at the latest. We'll know whether he stays or whether he goes. So we'll talk about that as soon as we know. We promise. We're actually going to be off tomorrow, but we will be live again Saturday after the Capitals game. So stay here on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel, hit the notification bell, subscribe so you never miss a live show. And be sure to subscribe wherever you get your audio podcasts as well. We had an interview with Scott Wedgewood yesterday, so it was really great to catch up with him. The story of his behind his mask was hilarious. So always great catching up with him. And then obviously we saw him get the win tonight. So even though it sucked the way the game went, always happy to see, a good guy and a former Coyote do well. So check that out with Wedgie. You can follow each of us on Twitter at @SPetersHockey. You can follow me at Leah Merrill. You can follow Sean at Sean_DePaz. Of course, follow Craig at Craig S. Morgan, and you can follow PHNX Coyotes at PHNX_Coyotes. And lastly, follow PHNX Sports across all social platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, etc. Live chat. Thank you for being here. I love reading everyone's comments. The Discord, you're amazing. Everyone on Twitter, amazing. And we'll get through this together. Coyotes fans, we will. We promise. Till then, enjoy the rest of your evening, everyone, and we'll see you on Saturday.